Well, looks like we're starting commentary here. Looks like the racers have started. Sorry for joining you guys late here, but we got four players. Not the usual, but weekends are very busy, as you guys know. So the top two racers are racing each other: blazingjames137 and Okra Armband. Pendant from the bottom race, which is xwater versus knox. First kingdom we start in here is the Cap Kingdom. Sort of the tutorial kingdom for the game. Gets you sort of used to the controls, what a capture is, mini boss fights, things like that. Does a very good job at that, but due to its tutorial purpose. Thing to go on the right here, that side. Seen a couple runners do that. Looks a bit risky, but for a lot of movement in this game, what makes them feel more comfortable, stuff like that. No major mistakes by runners here. Where we make our first capture of the run. And, little fun fact, you are able to do this jumping section here, this entire room, without capturing the frog. Stunt routers figured out, but one of the jumps is very precise, and so we care about speed in the 90% category, not minimum caps. Players go right here. Triple jump for Blazing James, rolling up to the first boss fight. So, Blazing Hat to knock down the hats of this boss and then jump on his head. Boss fight from Blazing James and Okra. Half a second of each other here. Not even. That's like a frame difference right there. So, as you can see, it's just down to really small execution. Not a lot of time loss can happen here. Behind from xwater, but front so far in the first 2 minutes. Big kingdom here, and the first real kingdom of the game with the moons and all and everything like that. So very shortly we're going to be collecting our first power moon, 124. So Okra missing it there a little bit. Had to kind of double back, so it's going behind here by just a second, but change. Need 124 full moons to power up our Odyssey, but it's imposed on each kingdom that we need a certain amount of moons to advance to the next kingdom. So for example, in Cascade, advance to Sand Kingdom, and so it's basically just routing the 5 fastest moons in Cascade, moons in Sand, and so on and so forth. By Blazing James and Okra Armband there, both nailing, and xwater, my bad, on the bottom left. Dino jump first try, using the trampoline hidden by the rocks there to propel the dino up, propel Mario up, get out of the dinosaur, and then use that to get into the boss loading zone early, saving about a minute of platforming if you were to take the normal route. Blazing James missed a stomp cycle there. Ooh, and it looks like he's backed up against the wall. That's really the only way to mess up this boss fight, is to not give yourself enough room between this Mama Brutal and the wall. And so if you don't give yourself enough room, you're going to be backing up into the wall, and the chain jump won't have enough room to fully pull back, and so you have to go all the way around. So.
Hey, Feinberg, can you hear me?
Ogre and xwater are in the lead for each of their respective races. Knox delivering the last hit to Mama Brutal there, and just finished with the Grand Moon Collection cutscene. In Cascade, there's one moon left, and thankfully they put one right in front of our faces. As this is one of the earlier kingdoms, there are a lot of easy moons to collect here, so we'll just take the one that sits right on top of that. xwater missing a roll cancel there. Being the fastest movement in the game, crouching and then shaking the controller is the fastest way to move from point 1 to point 2. And you'll see the runners do that a lot in this run.
Hey, can you hear me? Hey, what's going on? Alright, sorry for that. Looks like I'm here right in time for Sand Kingdom, though.
Still got another hour left, so thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Alright, I don't know if you went over the times that these racers have, but it looks like we should have a pretty close one here. No, Blazing James has a low 113. Okra has a high 114. xwater has a low 112, and I'm not sure on Knox's time because I couldn't find him on the leaderboard, but looks like we're gonna have a pretty close race here.
Sand Kingdom is one of the most open kingdoms in the game. There's a total of 89 moons, the most of any kingdom. Some of them aren't able to be collected until late game, but massive amount of moons in Sand Kingdom. There are a ton of different routing options available to runners, and so I'll be very surprised if we even see the same sand route coming out from multiple runners here.
Hey guys, sorry for joining you guys late, but
Hey, no problem, welcome.
we had a few issues here at the beginning.
All good.
So we
Looks
got
like all the
3
runners have used
here.
the same route.
Yeah, all coming up on the same hill, so the race is living up to its potential so far. Well, we've gone over this, I think, in just about every race that has been on this channel, but there are a lot of different routes you can take in sand, so especially with 4 people on screen, it'll be interesting to see, you know, what paths they take. It's generally little differences, just get this moon instead of this moon. So there'll be like 1 or 2 moons that vary between runners, but it's one of the more open kingdoms, which leads to these kind of route differences that are approximately the same amount of time to get, but you know, for whatever one preference reason or another, people will pick one way.
xwater and Okra here do a trick to keep the Bulbell alive, so you don't have to wait for a second cycle to go to the next moon they're trying to go to.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty tight trick to get down. You gotta really be on top of it, or else that Bulbell is gonna just crash into a wall, and you have to wait about 5 seconds for another one to shoot out of the cannon.
Yeah, and xwater even going so far as to grab the checkpoint by jumping out of the bullet bill, which is
That's
another
interesting. That might
hard
be a
trick.
sign that he's gonna take a little bit of a unique route compared to what we've seen out of most people. I would guess he's gonna go into the Sphinx. It looks like he will.
James is trying to go for the Sphinx clip here
We'll see if he can get this.
with the snapshot mode.
Oh, second try. That's pretty good. You probably still saved a second or 2 with that because it was a relatively quick setup. So very well done from James. It's a frame perfect trick. So definitely not easy.
Definitely, and I think he is the first one, at least that I have seen, that has actually done this in a race yet.
Yeah, me too.
Tones Malone's actually did Sphinx Clip against me when we raced the other day. So that's the second I've seen.
Ooh. But still, like, the second out of how many
Yeah.
races we've had yet?
Yeah, it's certainly, unless you're really confident, really consistent with it, I'd say it's definitely not something worth going for in a race, because it's one of those tricks that if you can mess up a bunch of times and kind of tilt yourself and just keep messing it up and lose a lot of time that way. But he got it second try there, so props to him.
And we see Blazing James here coming up on a Jaxie Ruin skip. It looks like he's gotten it there.
Just
So
barely.
able to explode, getting out just before it hits the wall, and then using that to get up on the runes early.
So we had 3 people going into Sphinx with Blazing James, xwater, and Knox, and Okra the only one opting to not go into Sphinx. So Okra will probably be the only one to have to do Seaside later on first, and
I
keep
wonder
a
what,
tight eye on coin management.
I wonder what Moon xwater skipped. I must have missed it, because he did get the notes at the end as well. Maybe he missed the bird at the beginning.
Missed the bird at the beginning. Skipped Flowing Sands, maybe? Down to get the checkpoint, yeah, so I think he got...
Regardless, we have 3 runners exiting sand all roughly at the same time, within 15 seconds or so of each other. So certainly Blazing James and Okra are in a really tight race so far.
It's just with like another 30 seconds to a minute here on sand, so really close so far.
And I know personally sand is a really tough kingdom to get a good time in. Very often I wind up losing 20 to 30 seconds in there, so they all did a pretty nice job there. Come out as fast as they did.
Kingdom, it is one of the shortest kingdoms. Speed run. We only need 8 moons to advance as opposed to sand 16. And so... Yes, and we actually do opt to fight the boss in this kingdom. Most kingdoms we don't, as boss fights are usually slow and have cutscenes, but...
Some of them are convenient because, well, they do, especially the ones that give you 3 moons, because they give you 3 moons, so that can be fast, plus they give you a free warp back to the Odyssey after the cutscene, so some of them are convenient. Like this one, this kingdom and Wood Kingdom especially, the route is kind of designed as just like a path straight up to the boss fight. It just kind of works out well.
And I know especially for like also there's not enough other moons in the kingdom to route in 3 other faster ones,
Yeah,
even if we did find the boss fight to be slow, so. See Okra here come up on a cheap jump to skip some plumbing. Looks like he's got it.
I know that's a popular spot where you can drop that dive in, but if you mistime it with the hat hitting the flower, it kind of eats your inputs. Hat hits things in midair, so you gotta be careful about that.
Don't blink, you'll miss the boss fight.
Yeah, just kind of
Extremely fast.
do some backflips here to cut all those cycles short.
Yeah, very clean boss fights with both Okra and xwater. And James as well. So 3 very quick boss fights. And the next kingdom is one of the more popular ones, with being wooded.
It's one of the more movement-intensive kingdoms, so it winds up being the favorite of a lot of runners, I've noticed.
Wooded, where really precise movement is needed to save 2, 3, 4 seconds, but it just adds up over the course of the kingdom. So I know my movements personally, I'd say it's alright. It's not the best, and my wooded split's one of my worst in the game just because I don't have the precision that some runners do to just save 2 seconds here and there.
Yeah, I'd say more so than any other kingdom. There's a lot of just really tight movement that, you know, if you just mess up slightly, you'll wind up bonking. And that, you know, those 2-second time losses from the bonks can really add up. It's not one of the longest kingdoms, but it's definitely one of the hardest.
Right there. It's like Knox messed up the cheap jump there. Unfortunate.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. I think his dive input got eaten, fortunately.
But I'm struggling a bit with the bunny.
Yeah, that bunny is another thing where I kind of have personally set up to get it right away, but if you miss that, it just feels like it takes forever to track down.
So Okra just now showing us why coin management in this game is really important, because there are shops that we can use to buy moons, and they cost 100 apiece.
Yeah, with 3 of the runners opting for the Sphinx and Sand, that should mean that they won't have problems with coins, but Okra will have to get some, try his best to get coins as he goes through the route before he gets to Snow Kingdom.
From the runner stuff right here in wooded.
Blazing, unfortunately, not nailing the jump. Bonking.
Yeah, this is one of those jumps where just slightly off positioning can lead to that bonk, and in fact, you have to set up the whole thing again. So that's one of the jumps that loses even more time, I would say. That and I think the waterfall jump are both 2 very tricky ones.
Okra and xwater both opting to do red maze first and doing the checkpoint warp that is coming up with the checkpoint they're going to grab.
It's like all 3 runners are going to do that so far. They're in wooded.
I'm actually not sure what xwater is doing.
Yeah, he hasn't done the pipe section yet, has he?
No. He's 2 moons short.
Yeah, hopefully he realizes that. Yeah, the pipe section, which Okra is in right now, is another place that it's very easy to lose time. Taking damage and bonking into the walls in here. This pipe section, the jumps are really tight.
Especially, speaking of taking damage, I've missed, I don't know if anyone's taken damage recently, but moons heal you in cutscenes here. And healing from 1 hit of damage to full health takes 2.2 seconds after you've collected the moon. So I'll actually get a chance to see it here for Blazing James. It'll kind of freeze for a second, move up to 3, and then end that there, so.
So in addition to losing time by taking the damage and not being able to control Mario, you also lose an additional 2.2 seconds by healing up.
Yeah, so xwater is a moon short here. I'm not sure if he realizes or what he's going to do about this. But there's 2 moons he can get in this room, and then he gets 3 from the boss fight at the top. So he's going to have to find a way to get another moon once he lands back at the Odyssey.
2 more moons.
2.
Oh,
from the
2
box.
more?
Yeah.
Yes, he was on 9,
'cause
not
of
on
the
10.
pipe. That's right, there's 2 in the pipe.
I want to say he just forgot.
Yeah,
I
he
can't
must
think of
have.
any other moons. I can't think of any other moons he would pick up here.
There's certainly not 2 backup moons near the Odyssey, but yeah, we'll see what he. I think he realized.
He jumped from the boss area.
So now he's gonna have to make the long climb back up, so that's gonna hurt him.
Did he not pick up the checkpoint there to warp there?
Pick up the checkpoint to
Okay.
warp back up.
So you can warp back up to the top. Pretty smart backup then. Yeah. So yeah, I would guess that was just a mishap on his part, but very nicely done. Cleaning it up. He won't lose too much time off of that.
He warps that right here.
Yeah,
Point
see,
on
still
top
going to be
of the
entering
boss
this boss
fight.
fight before James, and very close to in line with Okra. Although I guess we should emphasize that really this is 2 races going on. James and Okra are racing each other, and xwater and Knox are against each other.
Yeah. So now we're fighting Spirit, and Spirit is probably the easiest of brutals. Kinda
Agree with that,
just
definitely.
knock his head off, jump on him, and he has no time to attack, and then you just jump on him when he's hiding in a set again. Generally not leaving him any time to do anything at all. And he's also nice enough to give us coins.
I'd say that most of the bosses in Super Mario Odyssey are not auto-scrollers, are very fast, requiring a little bit of movement and just precision to cut down attack cycles. So
And the cool thing about them is there's fast strats for all of them, but there's also kind of intermediate strats for a lot of them as well. So if you can't necessarily do the fastest way to kill the boss, you know, you can kind of learn, get accustomed to it with a slightly slower way.
intermediate strats were really nice for when I was learning this game. Just starting small and then going up to the bigger strats.
So, Blazing James and Okra being pretty close to each other. Okra actually tied to xwater, who's doing his own race.
Yeah, those
Not
two are
trailing a
neck and
bit behind, sadly. And we're coming up to... Well, the game wants you to come up to Metro, but before that, we
neck.
get a visitor
War with Bowser.
in the form of Bowser, yeah.
And we'll see if any runners use the very super hard fast strats here. Looks like Okra might be going for it.
Oh wow.
Okra did go for
Nice
the
going
first hit
there.
at least.
Too.
I'd be surprised. It looks like he's gonna go for it on the second phase though. Oh no, maybe not.
No.
Yeah, that's something that I feel is just a little too risky for most runners in a race setting, because you can't stop blocking game.
Yeah. There's a soft lock potential, and it does only save 3-4 seconds.
So Blazing James also going for the first fast hit. And opting to take it slow on the other hits as well.
And so you'll see on James's screen here, on this next cycle, we'll grab the white hat and then actually hold it in place until he gets very close to Bowser. And that's used to skip Bowser's attack cycle, because he will notice you grabbed his hat and then jump away for a couple seconds, but if we can punch him before he starts jumping.
Yeah, and that saves quite a lot of time, because he'll jump to like basically the opposite end of the arena, and you'll have to, you know, roll all the way over there and then start punching him. So doing that on 2 separate phases probably saves you a good 15-20 seconds.
So we're now in Lost Kingdom on 3 of the streams, and you notice there is a tree in the beginning that we use to jump up to this half of the level, which is lovingly called the meme tree.
That tree is the true final boss of this game.
I've died
There's a
more
specific reason for us doing that. Because in this level there's a bird who goes by the name of Klepto, and he loves to take Cappy away from you and forces you to fight him, going through a sequence that takes up way too much time. And by jumping over to this half of the level, we basically skip the trigger area for that and manually trigger him by being close to him later on, which makes the game think we are actually in a fight with him and that he already has Cappy.
Yeah, and James actually went for cave gardening instead of doing the tree jump, so I guess he wanted no part of the meme tree today.
Which is fair. I
Yeah,
can totally
definitely.
understand that. The meme tree can be quite nasty.
Definitely a lot of safer tactic, but does lose a couple seconds over the other runners.
Yeah, certainly not the worst thing you can do in the name of safety. Oh, and James entirely misses the blocks there. I know how annoying that is to deal with. Sometimes it feels like the little grabber flies right over your head.
xwater and Okra there, you saw that they took an intentional death last minute as... And it does warp us back to the Odyssey upon death, so...
So actually pretty clean Lost Kingdoms from Okra, James, and xwater. I'd say it's one of the tougher kingdoms. Just because there's a lot of places you can slip off a ledge and die, and that will set you back quite a bit of time. Because if you're teleported all the way back to the beginning of the level, you're going to have to avoid that klepto text or cutscene trigger again. So if you were at the end and you have to go all the way back around the level, or if you have to just go into the trigger and take the time loss, it's gonna hurt you either way.
Yep, and after now being done with Cloud and Lost Kingdom, we are done with our little detour and go to our original destination, being Metro. Metro starts out in something that people refer to by either nighttime or Nightmare Metro or Rainy Metro, whatever you want to go for, which has some neat little jumps. And xwater almost falling off by not nailing that last jump there.
Yeah, we're able to save
Okra
it. You
did
have to make
fall
this
off.
slow climb up the stairs here. I call this the walk of shame.
Okra, unfortunately, his dive just went the wrong direction, so he will have to do this jump again. And Blazing and Okra here.
So xwater entering City Hall, and this is another place that is just can be really punishing. You know, much like most of Lost Kingdom, if you fall here, it's going to be a bad time. There's a good chance you're going to die, or if not die, you fall all the way back down to the beginning and have to climb the whole thing again. And it's one of those places that if you miss it, you fall back down and you pretty tilting. So we'll see if these guys tend to play it safe. But xwater actually got it pretty good. He just has one jump left to safety.
See if he can make it. That jump's way harder than it looks, folks, because
Yeah, you've got the camera shifting on you like halfway through, so you gotta know when the camera's gonna move so you can adjust your directions. It's all sorts of fun.
Definitely. There are some tricks for this by simply not touching your left analog stick as soon as the camera starts moving when you throw out Cappy, so you will always dive towards Cappy, but then you will immediately have to press it again to make sure you still land on the last jump.
And we got Wiggler here as everybody's favorite boss.
Yes, favorite. In hyphens. So Wiggler is a boss that we usually like to manipulate, just like we saw on xwater's stream. Usually we like to manipulate him to landing directly on this building where he just now is, because he will always reform there.
so really shooting for the 2 cycle here. It looks like he's gotten a really fast fight. xwater. It's very important that you're able to hit all those orbs when he comes out of the wall the first time, because if you do miss, he will go back inside the wall and you will be forced to wait 30-45 seconds before you're able to shoot him again. So definitely a bad mistake then.
probably the most punishing boss in this run, alongside with Mecha Rigla later on. Not Mecha Rigla, Mecha Brutal.
The mechas are the ones that get you.
Yeah.
Work here. Short
Blazing
there.
missing one orb.
Ochre gets the 2 cycle.
It's gonna put Ochre ahead by 25, 30-ish seconds here.
So Knox coming in, entering Dark Metro as the rest of these guys are finishing up the Liglet fight. So he's a little bit behind, but you know, nothing too extreme of a lead.
James finishing up the 3rd cycle here. In 2nd place due to that mistake, but he's still got another half hour where he could easily catch up.
xwater losing 2 or 3 seconds on the RC car by not getting immediately into the cage.
Yeah, I think he'll take losing only 2 or 3 seconds to that beast.
Yeah. I find it interesting that a lot of people have different setups for the RC car to do it fast or fast-ish. And now that the clip has been found with the scooter, I'm expecting to see more people do that sometime soonish.
Yeah, I think a lot of people haven't quite gotten the time to lab that out and get it consistent yet, so we haven't seen, at least I haven't seen any of it in the races, but we certainly haven't seen much of it, if any.
So in Okra, just demonstrating what we mean with the RC car being a beast, losing quite a lot of time, giving James the opportunity to catch up, especially with a fast RC car like that.
Yeah, James only maybe 5 or 6 seconds behind Ochre here. So you can have the cleaner Metro and head out to Snow on top. Or actually, Ochre will probably be going to Seaside, because I don't think he has enough coins yet. So we're going to see a little bit of a route divergence here between the Ochre and the rest of these runners.
It's got
He's
40
only got
coins.
40 coins.
A
So
couple
he-
spots to get coins in Metro. There's a 20 coin pile directly on the route. It's like a half a second to a second diversion. And then there's a 50 coin dumpster that's 2 to 3 seconds behind. And so take Seaside first though, as
Yeah, Seaside
There's very
first is
minimal
only,
time loss.
you know, minuscule time loss. It's just the time it takes to scroll down in a menu one time. So they'll typically go for Seaside first as opposed to trying to go out of their way to get coins in Metro. Ooh.
So Knox having some trouble with nighttime Metro, having fallen down in City Hall.
Yeah, kind of demonstrating the beast that this room can be. It's really unforgiving.
It really is. It's Blazing James and Okra just being generally really close to each other, so any little mistake could make or break it for those two. Both getting over the pool, going to the cafe. My xwater now collecting the first musician for the festival. Which means our favorite sentence is coming up, or at least my favorite sentence of this game.
Knox just about to start Mecha Wiggler here.
In this area that James is in right now, I'm really glad that you're able to kind of roll up against the walls in this area without blocking. Otherwise, this move would really be a pain trying to jump over the crowd of people. But you can kind of just roll up against the right wall and roll past all of them. It makes it a lot easier.
So xwater being done with Metro now, warping back to the Odyssey.
Everybody can go ahead and get your OTEPs in.
Yeah, we already missed one by not having the sound of xwater.
I think we've got James's audio up right now, so we'll
Sounds
we'll get our
like it,
fix in a minute.
Yeah.
See if Knox can get this 2 cycle really high up there. Oh, he's done it. Those last 2 orbs there.
So everyone, stay on the ready. The fix is coming up. Oh, chap!
Yep. Nice.
Yay!
That's a really good OTEP, Seth. That's very good.
Thank you very much. So, xwater, due to taking the Sphinx route, having more than enough coins to go Snow Kingdom first, just grabbing the only cameo we are having of Captain Toad.
It's really important that you do have 100 coins going into snow, so you don't want to miss input while selecting your kingdom, or you really want to keep track of your coin counter.
Yeah, as we saw in the race earlier, you know, not having enough coins can be pretty punishing here because there's not a lot of great backup moves to get. Snow Kingdom is one of those ones, like we mentioned earlier, where there's just not a lot of options in routing. So you kind of gotta stick to the path and hope you have enough coins.
There are, I think, a total of something along 20-ish coins that you can easily grab in snow, wasting a few seconds. Like,
yeah, there's like 4 coins outside, I think, and then there's the box with 10. And then I think 3 or 4 coins over each of those umbrellas. So you could potentially get around 20 coins.
You can ground pound the snow mound next to the 3 coins outside as well for, I think, 8 coins or something. So there are some coins, but
if you come in with 50 or so, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
A lot of rat differences. Before counting all the moons before the main multi-moon of Snow Kingdom, be slow. It's 3 moons, but it takes around 3 minutes. So it's not viable for 8%. There's only 13 moons we can possibly collect.
And you need 10 to leave the level. So yeah, as you can see, Okra's up over in Seaside now, so he's gonna take care of this kingdom. There's a long tunnel here that has, I think, about 35 to 40 coins in it. So that's where he's gonna get the majority of the rest of the coin he needs. And there's some rings he can go a little out of the way to collect to finish off the total of 100. So we probably won't have a good idea of how tight James and Okra are until they're both out of Snow and Seaside. But once they both head to luncheon, then we'll see how close they've managed to keep this race.
Yeah, those are the little routing differences. Going swings allows you to just go snow first. Not going swings means you have to keep tighter eye on your coin count and probably go Seaside first for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, it's a very rare occurrence that you manage to have enough coins coming out of Metro if you don't do Sphinx.
It's like
possible,
James
though.
taking
Oh,
force
James
shit
took
up
that.
there.
That was at the end of the
Not
room,
too bad
too.
though. Oh. Won't lose him too much time, but still don't want to die.
So the PBs of the runners, once again, for the people asking in chat, Blazing James has a 113.10, Okra has a 114.41, xwater has a 112.11, and Knox we're unsure of because he doesn't have a time posted on the leaderboard.
So Opera now heading to Snow with being, I think, 8 coins short. So we'll see where he opts to take the coins that he's missing. I would say the fastest is probably the box.
Yeah, I would say like 8 coins is certainly not a big deal to be short coming into Snow, but we just gotta hope that he recognizes it. Because if you walk into the shop without having enough coins, then that's gonna waste you even more time.
And it makes you feel bad. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah, it could get you a little flustered if you don't realize, and then you go to buy that moon and you don't have enough. But we'll see how he handles it here. Oh, James dying in the Goomba room. The death there isn't too punishing, because you can't, if he knows this, you can actually jump. Okay, he's gonna go all the way around, but you can jump from the starting area right over to the end with the half dive. But even still going around, that's one of the less painful deaths you can take, I would say.
It's in general just a very fast room to maneuver through.
That's such a small room that it doesn't take too long to navigate around. Yeah, there are ice physics in that room, so that's probably what caused him to slip off before he was able to jump.
xwater having a bit of trouble getting into that pipe in Seaside. Opera still missing 4 coins.
Yeah, so he jumps on the umbrellas.
Yeah.
All in all, a good backup.
Most definitely.
xwater struggling with this this tunnel jump here. It's one of the tougher jumps. That room has really bad depth perception, so it's sometimes hard to know exactly where you are to get like the proper wall kicks and stuff.
Oh, definitely. I remember nightmares about this room not getting the moon because the depth perception was off. So all in all, he handled that very well.
Now, I've got to say, this 4-way action we've been having today has been really exciting, especially in a race like this with, you know, some runners with some really good times here. That's fine, you get stuck on the wall for Okra. That's one of the more annoying things that can happen.
Yeah, but nothing a Cappy Frog 2 can't fix, so opting to go out of the Typhoon and just knocking it off manually.
Yeah,
probably faster.
I never thought to do that, but I've seen a couple people do that now. I think it's pretty smart. Rather than, when you blow with the Typhoon, it kind of takes a second to rev up his wind. So I'd say jumping out and just hitting it with your hat is probably faster.
So all in all, as you can hear from the audio, Seaside probably being one of the more chill kingdoms in the entire game, and xwater just now leaving it, leaving the relaxing part of the game behind. Going up to Luncheon. Luncheon is, say, an interesting kingdom, because there are different route choices people do here as well.
Yeah, it's another really challenging one too. You've got a couple tough jumps, and a lot of Pepto-Bismol all around the level that you can fall into.
Never heard someone call it that, but now that I think about it, that's really accurate. textured lava that's just like Pepto-Bismol, I guess.
I'm really not sure what it's supposed to be, but I'm just gonna stick with Pepto-Bismol.
That works.
It works very
And-
well.
He's on pace for 111 right now.
Yeah, he's on a really solid run. And this jump he's coming up on now is probably the toughest jump. In this level and in the game, I would say. I think it's the tightest jump in this run.
It's
I'd
definitely
say it's
the
either-
tightest one we have in the jump. We have in the run right now.
The one in Metro at the beginning of Dark Metro is pretty close, but it's not as tight, I don't think.
They're
Side jump.
close, but I think cheeseless solid is definitely the hardest we have right now.
Yeah. So Ochre looks like he pulled ahead a little bit through that sand and seaside, or snow and seaside stretch. He's off to lunch while James is not far behind him, depositing his moves from seaside into the Odyssey. So they still got quite a tight race going on.
Yeah, and xwater now on the rematch with Spirit. They are not counting Dark Side, which is post-game content. There are 2 fights with Very Brutal. We see Spirit and Topper 2 times. Spirit we just saw for the second time. Topper, the bunny from the beginning, we'll see later on. And the other 2 we just fight once, being Harriet and Rango.
You know, it's impressive that you know all their names. Most people, including myself, just revert to calling them green guy, blue guy, purple girl.
Yeah, the game does a really bad job of telling you their names because they are only in the manual on Dark Side. If you open that, and whoever does that, like, you open up the map, look at the map at most, and don't refer to the texts on the side, which are the manual.
Hey, I'll have you know I read through all of those menus in my casual playthrough.
But ain't nobody got time for that.
Not in a speed run.
Well, not in a speedrun, certainly not.
Detailed too, actually. Yeah, but unfortunately we do have to fight Spirit here 2 times, simply because we can't advance the luncheon story progression without collecting the story moon here from Spirit. So.
Yeah, we do. I think Luncheon is probably the most story moons we collect outside of Bowser's Kingdom.
Yeah, it might even be the same as Bowser's Kingdom. You have this one, you have the
Cheese Rocks.
cheese rocks, and you have the moon at the top.
Yeah, and Bowser's has the one behind the ogre at the beginning, the moon shards, the 2 brutal fights, and then
Yeah, so Bowser
mecha.
has more.
yeah, Bowser has one more story segment. Even though we collect a lot less moons there, it just takes longer because of the story, and in general, just being a large scope kingdom, like the way it's built.
Do the story in Bowser's Kingdom too. We can't leave to the Moon Kingdom without doing all 4 story elements. Capcom
Yeah.
just won't let us. Yeah, apparently we need to save Princess Peach or something. Like
There's
I don't
actually
get
a
that.
goal in this game, I guess. It's not just random
saving
platforming.
saving Princess Peach. What? All right, xwater opting to go for the fork flicking room.
This is a pretty uncommon choice from what I've seen. I think a lot of people don't like the required motion controls that you need to do this room well. And it really deters a lot of people. So you'll see, I'm sure one of these other runners will do the alternative route, which is a Kotobo room a little bit later.
they're the same
Yeah.
speed when done ultimately, yeah, but it's a lot harder for most people to do this fork room.
And xwater opting to do the lava
Risky
jumps.
as hell.
I've never done that that damage boost strat, but it looks pretty tough, so
It is
good for
pretty
him getting
tough.
that. If he would have, I guess he wouldn't have lost too much time if he died there. He would have just gone back to the door, but still kind of a risky strat.
Still very uncommon to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
So props to him for showing off a bit.
Yeah, that's cool to see some alternative stuff that we're not used to.
Oh, skipping.
So Okra was kind of going for a thing there where if you have enough momentum going into that wall, you can jump straight up without having to go to that little hill. But it looks like it didn't work out for him, so he just took the extra couple seconds to head over to the hill to get up there. And yeah,
So
we're still
both.
separated by only a matter of 10 seconds, maybe.
Yeah, not a
Top
lot.
race.
Not a lot between James and Okra.
I know personally you can lose that much time just trying to break these cheese rocks. Those pans don't really fly the way you want them to a lot of times. Both runners
Yeah.
not too bad getting that.
James getting trolled for like a sec there still. With the pants just flying off to the left and right and not directly in front of him. But overall, it could have been a lot worse. And
xwater.
Oh, xwater taking
oh,
the death
rip.
there.
The death here, yeah.
I'm not sure where that. Oh, that sends him back to the
To the cutscene.
cutscene. Yeah, see, if he would have done the Podobo room, that death would have been less punishing. But unfortunately, since he went for the forts, that set him back just a little bit further.
Yeah. So the top race, both runners will go Porburu. Unless I'm miscounting, but no, they should both go
Neither of
for
them
that.
went for forts, so. Now
It's here in the powder room, yeah.
this really looks like it might come down to Bowser's Kingdom execution, especially in the boss fights in this top race.
Yeah.
xwater are going to finish up Luncheon here. They'll head off kind of to the rest of the game after Luncheon is kind of a slew of boss fights, I would say. You've got a dragon coming up, and then in Bowser's Kingdom you've got 3 or 4 boss fights depending on how you classify stuff. And then
5
of
or
course
6 boss
Bowser at the end.
Very fun, just boss fight after boss fight with some platforming in between.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they are interesting boss fights. So it's not like they're, like we mentioned earlier, they're not boring auto scrollers. Although the dragon is to an
The
extent,
dragon kind of is.
but
Yeah.
the rest of them are actually interesting fights. So if they were all kind of boring auto scrollers, the end of this game would be a lot less good than it is. But fortunately, we don't have to deal with that.
So, xwater now heading up to said dragon in the Ruined Kingdom, which is, at least going by optics, I think a favorite for many people, and many people wanted it to be bigger than it actually is. I mean, it's also... Go ahead.
Yeah, you go.
Alright. It's also jokingly referred to as Dark Souls, oftentimes, so...
So xwater are gonna go. He's not gonna go for damage boost strats on this fight. He's gonna try to kind of time his jumps to land on the dragon right when the glowing hitbox ends, so that you can pull those swords out as fast as possible. Some runners you'll see just damage boost, jump up, and take the damage right away, and then just sit on top of the dragon with iframes until the swords are active.
xwater having some fun there during the auto-scrolling parts by
Jumping up
just
against the wall.
continuously bonking against the wall there with his head. Poor Cappy. Must have had a concussion from that.
taking the damage boost there.
Taking it a bit late, sadly. So not really much chance to capitalize on it.
Yeah, if you land perfectly, you'll be able to pull the swords out really fast, or if you land early and take the damage, you'll be able to pull them out right away. But if you land right as the damage is like ending, then you're gonna sit there stunned for a couple seconds and not be able to do anything. But this is the kind of thing where unless you die, which is pretty tough to do, you're really not going to lose much time on this fight.
So yeah, xwater done with the dragon. About to leave Ruined Kingdom and heading into Bowser's Kingdom.
I think most people would be in agreement that Bowser's is by far the toughest kingdom to do well. Which is appropriate, being at the end of the game and all.
Yeah. There are just so many things that can go wrong in Bowser's Kingdom.
Blazing James on 1 health here, but he is gonna finish off this fight. Just mere seconds behind Okra still.
Seconds behind here. You're starting Bowser's Kingdom. It's got a really nice Japan themed kingdom, and all the sections are really, really nice, in my opinion at least. Just
xwater going for an interesting strat to jump up there that avoids using the bird.
I'm actually not sure which is even faster, avoiding the bird or just using the bird instantly.
I would say the bird is faster, so I'm not sure what his reasoning is for doing that, but maybe something we can ask him after the run.
Maybe just showing off.
Maybe.
I mean, I know I take it without the bird.
Oh, do you?
At least I thought it was a bit faster, but I'm
Yeah, I can't say for sure. I haven't. That's not something I've timed. I never really thought of doing it without the bird. The bird just seemed a lot easier to me.
Because you do climb the wall slower. Because the bird you'll climb it faster, but you also have to capture the bird.
Yeah. Well, something you can do with the capturing for the birds, at least. I don't know if this works on everything, but if you're like higher than the bird, so if you jump and then throw your hat, you can like kind of knock the hat off and capture the bird with one hat throw. Like Okra just did it right there.
You can do that for a lot of things.
Yeah, I know it doesn't work on everything, but I know for sure it works on the birds. So I use that a lot in this kingdom.
You can do it with the uproots from Wooded as well, I think.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
At least I think I saw people instantly getting into the uproots with one hat throw.
And another point I don't think we brought up yet is that even if there's a race that's not close, that it looks like the winner is very clear, it's still in the runner's best interest to get as good of a time as they possibly can, because seeding for the bracket stage of this tournament is going to be done using the times you get in the races. So whoever has the best average times really is going to be the top seed in the bracket. So even if you're minutes ahead of your opponent, you still want to do as good as you can and not take too many crazy risks, just for the purpose of that.
It looks to me like xwater is going to be trying out a very new strat here for Bowser's Kingdom. Is there?
Yeah, I'm thinking of which moons he will grab. Like,
did he not grab the bird in the hole?
No. He
Or
only
behind
grabbed the.
He might be grabbing the fence post one after the fight. That's the
Yeah,
only thing I can think
or
of.
dropping down from the Brutal Arena onto Golden Bowser.
Yeah, that would be the other option. That moon I always found a little too scary to go for, because that nose is rather slippery, and you know, if you fall off there, that's going to be a death. It won't set you back too far, but you know, the death animation, losing the coins and such, still takes quite a bit of time. So that's one I personally never went for.
Just trying to find that hat here for Topper. It's just he has a lot more hats than in Cat Kingdom, so trying
Blazing
to
James
land on that
actually
one.
pulled ahead of Okra here now at this story moon for the moon shards, but only by a second or two. It's still very tight. It's going to come down to the boss fights for sure.
Yeah, xwater now entering our only encounter with Harriet, or Bomb Girl as people call her who don't know the name. And Harriet is essentially kind of an auto-scroller as well, because she always takes the same amount of time to do her attacks.
Yeah, there is. You can kind of shorten it a little bit. If you jump up and hit the bombs back at her, you can save time that way. And you can actually position yourself to get her to land at the spots that she would fly to, so that she's flying around less in the in-between phases. But those are mostly just little micro time saves.
Yeah, not saving
like-
too much.
James decided to go for Harriet first, and Okra's gonna take care of Topper.
So we'll see where they are after the conclusion of those boss fights.
It doesn't make a difference which one of these you do first. It's just preference. I personally like to get Topper out of the way first. I find him a little more difficult.
So yeah, one thing that's coming up now on xwaters is the final climb, which is also quite optimized if you do it right. After that we have the Mecha Brutal, and there are essentially two fast ways to do the fight, one being the Birdless, where we don't capture a Pokio, and the other one being the Pokio fast threats, being around, I think, 10 seconds slower, I think, but overall a lot safer.
Yeah, and there are even time saves you can get from ground pounding the individual brutals on like earlier phases to save even more time. So it's a fight that to do really perfectly requires a lot of optimization, but there are a lot of intermediate strats along the way, much like the normal brutal fights.
Yeah.
And Okra looks like he took the lead back by a couple seconds after the brutal fights.
They're coming up on Mecha Brutal.
Oh, he's gonna bonk into that wall though and give James a chance.
xwater missing Birdless, opting to go for the Pokio threats now.
And so what xwater was going for, and what hopefully we'll see from the other runners, is using the Mecha Brutal's leg to climb up early. This first cycle here, we'll see that the strats do take the same strats after the first cycle. Trying to stay on top of Mecha Brutal for as long as we possibly can.
James going for a little swim there.
Hopefully it doesn't die here.
Yeah, it's very easy to get hit by this Pokio up here, but he manages to avoid it. Going for a strat that will get him away from the cannonballs as well.
Get hit there. That was scary.
Now what he could have done is grab that checkpoint and it would have healed him. Checkpoints heal you, and they also don't lose time healing you, unlike the Moon Get cutscenes. There he grabs that checkpoint to heal up. So Okra gets that first or that second phase down. See if he can get back up on top.
He has no fight here.
This is the hard one. See, yeah, that's the tough one to get back on because it's charging at you, and if you hit the ears on the front, it's gonna stop you dead in your tracks. So this is a chance here for James to make up that time if he gets a perfect fight.
Yeah, opting to go for Birdless here, which is around 10 seconds slower than taking the leg up, but see if he can mean the lead after Okra's mistake.
So he's gonna get this second phase. Oh, he almost dove right off.
That was scary. Oh, promising to climb up.
Has Okra gotten his third one yet? I don't think he has. He's at risk of dying here.
Knox
Back
now
up.
getting his first one.
So Okra's still with a slight lead here.
Get back, yeah. It looks like
And
he
he
did.
clutches that out.
James can take this ground pound here off of third cycle. Opt him to take it a bit slower, a lot safer. Good execution there.
See if he can get back up on top of this.
I think he's got
A
the
little
height
low.
here.
Oh, just barely misses. That's a costly mistake. So
The
Okra's
slow,
gonna-
one of the better cycles to mess up, as it's pretty fast to recover, but
As long as you can climb up the side, it's not too punishing. But if you miss this, and unfortunately, it looks like he's going to. Oh, maybe not. He saved it. Very nice. All right, so he lost kind of the time that he gained. Okra and him had similar fights, so I'd say Okra's about 30 seconds ahead or so right now.
xwater did opt to go for the fence moon, I believe, as he is in Moon Kingdom. Difficulty.
Yeah, so
So-
xwater coming up on the end here. He's gotta get Moonskip, fight Bowser, and then escape sequence, and he'll be finished.
Moon Cave skip is probably the biggest single skip we have in this entire game, saving about 4.5 to 5 minutes, depending on when you get it.
And if he is able to execute Moon Kingdom really well, he is on pace for a high 111, which would give him a personal best. So hopefully we can see that.
Taking the time to set up there.
Which
Yeah,
is
he-
honestly the smart thing to do. Like,
Yeah, I would agree. And
instead of rushing it and not getting it, taking that 1-2 seconds to set up and getting it every time is probably, at least for the race, the smart thing to do.
And we're not entirely sure how Moonskip works, but my guess is that just like the way the wall is curved in that particular spot, you can jump off of it, and it makes you think you're on like parallel walls as opposed to perpendicular ones. It gives you your
Yeah,
wall
I think
kickability
it's a
back.
wonky interaction between the gravity and the way the walls are shaped.
Yeah, I know some people were, as soon as they saw that you had actual moon physics here, they were just like chomping at the bit to break this kingdom. And little, you know,
Day one, it
with-
was already broken.
yeah, within a couple days of the game being out, I think this skip was found.
I think this particular skip was already found on day one, if I remember correctly.
I think there was like a much longer setup found on day one. I think you're right, and then they kind of found this setup a day or
this
two later.
the faster setup was, I think on the day we had to release weekend race.
So
which
Okra
was
did get
Sunday.
first try Moonskip, and there's not too many points where you can have a major mistake till the end here, so he's really just got to hold on, and he'll have a win under his wings. But you know, things can still happen. You can still die in the escape sequence, in the 2D section. It's certainly happened before.
James sadly missing his first moon cave skip setup, missing the second one as well.
You see him kind of opting for this overhead camera view. That's not something I've seen very often, but you know, everyone has their little quirks to make this trick work, because it can be finicky.
So xwater just, in general, now heading into the escape sequence, which is the end of the game. Not really much that can go wrong here, except for the 2D section shortcut.
Yeah, we'll see if he opts to go for the shortcut. I know some people, even in the race setting, they feel comfortable enough to go for it. It's not particularly hard, but it is risky.
Yeah, if you somehow mess it up and die, you lose, I think, 30 to 40 seconds. Because it resets you all the way back to the beginning of the escape.
Yeah, xwater is potentially on PB pace here. So that's another reason. He does go for the shortcut and he got it. So maybe being on PB pace fueled him to get that extra little time save.
Or just being comfortable enough.
Yeah.
In general.
I know some people are very comfortable with it. They'll go for it really in any situation.
Anything here, but it looks like xwater and Okra are both on PB pace.
Yeah, xwater looks like if he has a good section here, he'll come out with like a solid 10-15 second PB. Probably closer to 10, actually. Yeah, similarly, Okra's on pace for a bit bigger of a PB, I believe, even.
Previous PB was a 114.41. And it looks like he's on pace for a low 113.
So yeah, xwater is going to PB here. Very nice run from him. Looks like, 111.46 or so.
47, I think, maybe 48, depending on when he actually split it.
Yeah, his PB was a 112.11 before this, so a nice 20-second PB. Closer to 25 even. So very nice. And we'll see if Okra can do the same in this last section, and also win the race while he's at it.
Yep. So pretty solid run by xwater. And in general, all of our competitors having very solid runs, with Okra and blazingjames being relatively close to each other the entire time.
Okra maybe on pace for a 112 is going to be really close.
Probably a low
Yeah, I would say a low 113.
113.
Actually, it'll be close. It'll be tight. We'll see.
In on the dot. That's my guess. 113.00.
Dude, 113.00 would be nice.
Nice
And
guess.
it is the 113.00.
So 2 PBs here in this 4-person double race. And blazingjames is not going to be too far behind his PB. Only about a minute behind, so very nice runs, these 3 guys.
Yeah, very nice runs.
Awesome to see players PB in a race setting. It's with the pressure and everything, it's definitely hard.
Oh my god.
Hey, Okra, congrats on that PB and the win.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my heart is pounding. I need to breathe, get some water. Holy.
Hey, get that water. You deserve it. And xwater as well. Congrats on the PB, dude.
Thank you, man. 1 second PB, but we'll count it.
Oh, was it only 1 second? So your
Yeah,
time
I
on
hadn't
the leaderboard
posted
was
my
up.
1150 yet, so this is the new non-official PB.
That's really funny. But yeah, I mean, both of you, really great runs. You guys have any thoughts?
I knew as soon as I golded sand, I was like, oh no. I can PB this. And I was just like, don't mess up the whole time. So when I died on the Metro girder, it was like, no, my heart
Oh
sank.
yeah.
Oh, I fell down the girder too, dude, but I managed to come back and like just climb regular style.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
just, my heart sank. And
Yeah,
it
you guys both took the walk up the stairs.
The shameful walk.
Yeah, I was saying on the stream, I call that the walk of shame whenever that
Dude,
happened.
I had the most shameful death. I was in lunch at the last moon before meat percent, and I just jumped off the wall and
Yeah.
bonked and fell into the Pepto, and I felt so bad. I was like 22 seconds. I was like 30 seconds ahead of my pace, and I'm like, shit, man.
And we were talking about if you would have actually gone for the Podobo room instead of the Forks room, you would have lost a little bit less time there because you would have spawned back at the door.
Yeah,
instead
true.
Of the cutscene checkpoint.
I'm a big fan of the forks.
Yeah, I noticed you're one of the few people that have really gone for it in these races. I think a lot of people prefer the Podobo room, but any particular reason you like the Forks room?
When you I tried to do it. I think I got it on the first fork. If you do that actual up throw and then get it to home in on the forks, it's really fast. And honestly, a lot of my routing is just me being stubborn and choosing something I like more than something else. And the fork room is super fun.
Well, I think the Fork room is actually a tiny bit faster if you do it optimally, but a lot of people, including myself, just really don't like the up throw. It seems really unreliable to me, but hey, if you can get it to work for you, then that's great.
Motion controls, my dude, really fun. Really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
precise.
Love it.
Definitely the best part, for sure.
So, xwater, you mentioned being stubborn and doing what you like in your routing.
You're gonna
and-
bring up my wooded, aren't you?
Yes.
So that was on
purpose. Was that on purpose?
Yeah, that was a 100% intentional. That was just I haven't rerouted my wooded in a while, and it's super out of date.
That's interesting. Well, we were
Yeah.
kind of panicking for you. We thought you didn't realize what you've done. But, you know, that honestly, I don't think it might be a little slower, but I don't think it's that much slower.
I can't imagine it's too much because climbing the tower, like if you climb the tower, you have to go through the pipe for the cutscene regardless, and then you actually have to do the climb. Jumping
Yeah.
from the top and getting the warp instead of going through the pipe, I feel like is gotta be. I mean, I'm sure if Shaden isn't doing it, it's not the fastest, but I'm sure it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing you can do, but you know, we were all panicking for you, so we were happy that you were able to what we thought was a backup, but I guess intentional. So there you go.
I
Whole
think
plan
back up.
happened.
We were like, what's he gonna do for these two?
Yeah, because we were like, okay, he's gonna get back to the Odyssey, and there's like not really anything around there, so I don't know where he's gonna get 2 moons from.
I had everybody worried. That's funny.
Still managed to PvP. The worry and everything, and even that death emotion. So awesome.
Yeah,
run,
so
man.
you took a death and an almost second death, so it looks like you've probably got yet another big PB in your near future, I would say.
Yeah, I'll clean it up. I gotta clean up that wooded and then get a free nice little PB.
Yeah, where do you guys stand in your groups? How many races have you done?
That was my first, man, and Knox, the guy who was my direct opponent in my group, had to go because he said he has a concert
Oh,
to
man.
attend. Yeah, so he DQ'd himself for this round.
Well, that's unfortunate, but
Yeah, I actually couldn't find him on the leaderboards too, so this is the one I was the most
Yeah.
worried about because I had no idea what his time was. I was like, oh man, is he a ringer coming in to bot me out or?
yeah, I know because earlier one of the racers was saying they have Diddy in their group, and he's another one who hasn't submitted a time to the leaderboard, but obviously a lot of people know him for being the Sunshine World Record holder. So that's like
Yeah,
a
so
really
that's gotta have
scary
people
thing.
scared. Yeah.
Especially when you
That
know
was
it's a
me-
talented speedrunner. That just adds to it.
And you know, he's just grinding it offline, gonna come in, just whoop you.
Yep.
Diddy's in my group actually.
Oh man.
Oh man.
So yeah, he didn't have a time submitted.
Have you raced him yet?
No, I need to. He's raced
Yeah, I saw he did one race already.
he raced Ivan actually, and he PB'd. He got a 112.49 there, and I'm sitting here with a 13.20, like panicking, trying to learn my time. Because some of best too is like a 108, like a low
Wow.
109, high 108. Mine's like a 111. He just like doesn't have the consistency enough with this game because it's different than Sunshine.
That's
Yeah.
kind of
I was
that's
watching
kind of
him-
how he is as a runner too, because he's done the same thing in Sunshine, where he had a really ridiculous sum of best for a long time. before he
Crazy.
had a good world record.
I think him stream like yesterday, and he streamed for like 6 hours, and he was practicing like just Wooded, like individual kingdoms, like Wooded and Sand, and I got like so scared
Yeah,
because
that's some crazy dedication.
busting his ass off, and I'm sitting here doing full runs, resetting on Cap Kingdom every other run.
That's Diddy, man. That's what he does.
I'm scared. Hopefully it's gonna go alright. I did
Shaden
lower
will
my
know
sum of
someone.
this.
Oh.
Shaden's got a new competitor, but we'll see how that goes. But enough about me. Awesome races, guys. Awesome to see 2 BBs.
Yeah, GG. That was crazy.
Yeah, really good stuff. And between James and Okra, that was a really tight race the whole way throughout.
I kept looking over at the stream during downtime, like, oh my god, we were within 5 seconds of each other. Oh no,
Yeah.
like
When
I
you-
knew
when
if
you
I
guys
looked over, I'd
finished
just
up
get
the,
scared.
When you guys finished up the brutal fights in Bowser's Kingdom, you were literally like 2 seconds apart.
oh
was
my
crazy.
god.
And then you both kind of messed up a little bit on the mech fight.
I got so unlucky with the way it turned, and I just didn't make it in time.
Yeah.
And then that was so unlucky.
But yeah, that was down to the wire for sure. So
Yeah.
a really good race. We
That was
kind
a
of
great
expected
race.
that. You guys had really similar times coming in.
Yeah.
You actually beat his PB.
Did I beat his PB? Oh my god.
by 10 seconds. So you beat him in the race and you bopped him on the leaderboard. So you got the double kill there.
Oh no. James, no.
I'm pulling up your splits here, Okra. I was watching your stream a little bit just to see what pace you were on for PB, and it's behind your summer best. So definitely like a flawless run almost for you.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, again, there was that one Metro death, but other than that, like I was in the rhythm pretty much every single split. It was like the Metro death and the Mecha Brutal were the 2 big things that if I can play perfectly again, I'll PB just for free.
That was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
There's a couple other races starting up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me see. It looks like we got. Well, as far as Odyssey goes, we have a race at 8 o'clock and one at 9 o'clock. So still 2 more races today in Odyssey, and plenty of other stuff throughout the Speed Gaming channels the rest of the night.
Yo, super shout outs to Speed Gaming for putting this together. This has been everyone's working so hard, man. There's always something happening.
Yeah, and it's been a blast to race and offer some commentary. It's been really fun. So yeah, shout out
Especially
to
them
Speed
throwing-
Gaming for hosting this all and putting it all together.
I like how we're shouting them out on their own channel.
Yeah, well, hey, they deserve it. They've done a good job.
Guys, make sure you check out Speed Gaming. There's twitch.tv/Speed Gaming. Head over there, toss them a follow.
Give him a
And-
follow.
and for real though, actually head over to their YouTube because I believe they're uploading all the races.
Oh yeah, they are.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, all the matches are getting uploaded. Yeah,
So
so that's actually super worth checking out.
So if
But a
there was a
day
matchup
after.
maybe that you missed that you really wanted to see, just go over to their YouTube channel and you can catch all the past races. I think they usually have them up within a couple days.
Mhm.
And yeah,
There are always more races of Mario Odyssey. Yeah, there's more on the schedule. Just looking at it for 9 o'clock. So
yeah, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock
8
tonight,
o'clock,
2
9,
more
mhm.
Odyssey races, and then plenty more tomorrow as well. So, and for the rest of the month to come.
don't touch that browser.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have something on this channel immediately after, or they'll be hosting one of the other speed gaming channels. So stick around if you want more speedrunning action.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys. GG's.
Yeah, GG's everybody. Good race.
Awesome times, everybody. Yeah. That's us wrapping up. Racers here, they put a ton of time into their runs. Follow Speed Gaming, you know, if you're already here, but make sure to do that. And then definitely follow the commentators. We all do races. I know Kervis has a nice time. Seth and I also do races runs regularly. But thanks so much for joining us. Something else is just around the corner.